Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another edition of MJ Everyday, a dieting based episode for you guys today. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about steady fat loss and how to achieve steady fat loss and how to achieve consistent fat loss over a long period of time. What's kind of spawned this episode is I'm having a lot of conversations with people at the moment about fat loss and people kind of wanting to throw everything that they've got in their cutting tool bag, as I call it, at a fat loss plan right at the start of the plan. So they want to go from doing, practically no cardio to doing 2 hours of cardio a day, plus HIIT cardio, plus Stairmaster. They want to go from consuming, let's say, for example, 3,000 calories a day, right down to like 1,800 calories a day in the first week of their cut. And they want to lose body fat as quickly as they possibly can and, make that weight loss process happen as quickly as they can by just throwing everything they've got at a fat loss period or at a diet effectively. The problem with this is, guys, if you think back to episode 71 of MJ Everyday, it's popping up on screen at the moment, the episode about metabolic adaptation. What doing that is going to achieve is definitely you're going to lose a lot of weight very, very quickly. And you may even lose a lot of body fat very, very quickly. But what happens is your metabolism adapts to that just as quickly. So if you go from doing no cardio to doing all the cardio you can possibly do within the first couple of weeks of your cut or your diet, you go from eating a significant amount of calories to crushing your caloric intake very, very quickly in the first couple of weeks of a cut or a diet. Your body is going to adapt to that reduced caloric intake and that increased caloric output very, very quickly. And when it does, you've really got nowhere to go. There's only so much cardio you can do. There's only so low you can go with your caloric intake. You really need to kind of be patient with the cutting process and not use all of the tools in your cutting tool bag at once at the start of a cut, because you need to understand that there is going to be this consistent process of metabolic adaptation as your body gets further into caloric deficit, as you push your caloric output higher and higher through doing more and more cardio, your body's going to adapt to that. And when your body does adapt to that and it does cause you to hit a plateau, you need to either reduce your caloric intake further or increase your caloric output further. So using all of these tools in your cutting tool bag right at the start of a diet, right at the start of a cut, really leaves you nowhere to go when you get to that plateau, when you have metabolic adaptation that causes you to reach a plateau. So my advice to you guys is, be patient with your cut, be patient with your diet, understand that you're not going to get super shredded in the first 2 weeks of a cut. It's going to take 12 weeks, 14 weeks, 16, 18, 20 weeks, however long you're planning to cut for, and pace yourself. Really pace yourself. Don't reduce your caloric intake right at the start. Cut it back 5%, 10% when you reach a plateau, another 5% when you reach a plateau, another 5% when you reach another plateau. Add cardio slowly, increase your caloric output by slowly, steadily increase your caloric output by adding a cardio session a week. And then when you reach a plateau, maybe another cardio session. When you reach a plateau, maybe another cardio session. When you've done all your lists, then start adding medium intensity steady state, then start adding high intensity interval training. Don't throw it all in at once, hoping to achieve your end goal that you've set for 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 weeks in the first 2 weeks. Be patient with it. Pace yourself and just understand that you're consistently going to be fighting metabolic adaptation when you're trying to lose body fat, because that's naturally what our bodies are going to do. They go into survival mode. They don't want to be super lean. They want to maintain and hold on to body fat for as long as possible. The next question that I kind of get that kind of ties into this, so I wanted to address it in this episode of MJ Everyday as well, is what is a realistic level of body fat loss or weight loss in particular? What is something that is steady, that is achievable, that is a good rule of thumb measure that you're not too far in caloric deficit, that your calories aren't too low or your caloric output isn't too high right at the start? And this is one that I'm stealing, as a matter of fact, from my good man Paul Revelia. I've popped a link to his YouTube channel down below. A bunch of really good content that Paul puts out with regards to dieting in particular. And Paul's piece of advice is you shouldn't be losing more than 1% of your body fat per week. So if you weigh 100 kilos, you shouldn't be losing more than a kilo a week. If you weigh 50 kilos, you shouldn't be losing more than 500 grams a week. And that's a really good rule of thumb. Of course, it depends on a whole bunch of variables. It depends on, what your body fat level is, how old you are, how long you've been training, etc., etc. But it's a really good rule of thumb measure that if you are losing more than about 1% of your overall body weight per week when you're on a diet or when you're on the cut, you're probably pushing yourself a little bit too far, a little bit too hard. And when metabolic adaptation kicks in and you hit a plateau, you're not really going to have a whole lot of place to go to push through that plateau. Guys, that's a wrap for today's episode of MJ Every Day on fat loss, steady fat loss, and slow and steady wins the race. It always does. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn your post notifications on both on your mobile, your cell phone, and your desktop PC so you don't miss a beat when it comes to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel. Until tomorrow, I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Stay